Hey everyone, this is my first ever Twitch stream. I hope you're all doing alright. My name is Alvaro Cortez Jr., aka Lance Danger. I am a webcomic artist and a comic book creator. Alright, so I hope everyone is having a good week so far. For those of you who don't know, once again, my name is Alvaro Cortez Jr. I'm also known as Lance Danger around many parts of the internet. And of course, here on Twitch, it's the Lance Danger. Because I guess someone else had already taken Lance Danger, oddly enough, on Twitch. So, anyway, as I had announced on Facebook, um, I just want to experiment on Twitch to do just like smaller, chill art streams where there's not too much pressure and just having a lot more fun and whatnot. Let me just so you guys can actually see me. Um, Again, just art and have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, since I also announced on Facebook I am going to do kind of like limited run stickers and prints and whatnot. So I just wanted to have some fun and just go ahead and do a design for a limited run of stickers that I want to do. For those of you wondering what I'm illustrating on, I am illustrating on an XP pen, of course, Resident Evil, one of my all-time favorite video game franchises. Just wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. I'm just looking up my references to do this illustration. I am going to do kind of like a chibi-esque illustration. Just bear with me one moment. I know this stream is trash right now. I'm sorry. Not that great with first impressions, I guess. But hopefully I'll get the hang of it. Like I had this reference that I had in mind. I just can't seem to find it now. Like, yeah, I know I should have probably had it all ready, but I was actually having a lot of trouble setting up the camera. I guess between last night and today, a lot of things updated on my laptop, and a lot of the permissions were suddenly gone. So I had to like go one by one, adding the permissions to like share screens, the camera, the microphone. It was a mess, but here we are. And so let me just go ahead and start sketching here. I don't know if I'm going to like do the entire illustration today. I might do it over the next couple of days and whatnot. In any case, let me just make the Clip Studio window bigger so you guys can check it out better what I'm actually doing. Right, so I'm going to at the very least start sketching out the main idea that I have for this. Right, this is also actually the first time that I illustrate Resident Evil characters, even though I am a fan of the franchise. I hope you guys also enjoy the lo-fi music going on in the background. When I use the streaming services of Restream, that's what I use for YouTube and Facebook as well. Like I have one of those stands that raise your monitor, and those have come in so handy for doing these art streams and just for doing art in general on my desk. because it lets me just slide my keyboard underneath the monitor and I can just go on and do what I need to do. I like to lay down like the basic structure of the character. Just kind of going back and forth, also looking at the reference that I got for this illustration. I know that sometimes there's like a controversy whether or not to use references in your artwork and whatnot. I'm used to be of the school that I would rarely use references for my artwork. But after I went to school and I got my associate's degree in fine arts, and then I went on to study cartooning as well for the bachelor's degree. I learned how important it can be to actually have photo reference to kind of help you guide you in what you want to do and kind of express your idea a little better. Like there are certainly times where you have to use your imagination for certain things, but for others, it's just good to kind of give in and just use those references. So I just kind of approach this the same way that I would approach doing a traditional artwork by doing the whole underdrawing and whatnot. I also like to zoom in a little bit. I try not to zoom in too much because if I zoom in too much, I may enter into the trap of wanting to put a lot of little details that won't even appear once it's shrunk down to the print size and whatnot. And also, it just takes forever if you keep on adding and adding and adding and noodling here and there. And you want to do your art as efficient as possible. My introduction to my first Resident Evil game was actually Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64. It was very exciting for me because, especially with everything that happened with the Final Fantasy franchise moving to the Sony PlayStation, because the cartridge wouldn't be able to even run the game, and if it did, it would have to be like a mega huge cartridge to be able to have enough power to run something like a Final Fantasy VII game. So when Resident Evil 2 was announced for the Nintendo 64, first my reaction was of shock, and then afterwards it was just plain excitement because I had seen my friends play the original Resident Evil and then Resident Evil 2 when that one eventually came out. Like it was one of the few times that I was jealous that I didn't have the PlayStation back then. Because back then we could only afford like one console at a time back then. So I would always go for the Nintendo because that was the one that I was most familiar with, and that was the one that had the most franchises that I enjoyed playing, like Mario and Zelda. And I remember when Resident Evil 2 came out, it was like the quote unquote biggest cartridge ever made for the Nintendo in terms of the specs inside. It might have no other game probably had as much compared to Resident Evil 2 because the animation and the visuals were just so great for the Nintendo 64. It was really impressive that the Nintendo 64 could handle a game like Resident Evil 2. Yeah, I just kind of like to get that underdrawing. Usually, I don't go as detailed when I do the underdrawing, but since this is the first time I actually even illustrate these characters, surprisingly enough, I kind of want to like take my time to like get familiar and get a nice good hold on everything. So I saw Resident Evil like from its original game before it was the first one was remade, of course, eventually with better graphics and voice acting and whatnot. And my best friend, he had the PlayStation. So when I would sleep over at his mom's house, just to have like a gaming night and whatnot, I would watch him play, and sometimes I would play too. One of the reasons he actually would want me to stay over was also because he considered me for some odd reason his good luck charm, in the sense that whenever he was stuck on a certain level, he would go ahead and invite me over to stay because for some reason, I guess having an audience made him play better or something, or maybe I could give some insight to something that he hadn't seen yet in the game, and it would help him pass that stage that he would be stuck on. Hey, Makai Priest. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the comments now. Yes, we are talking Resident Evil. I am talking Resident Evil 2 from the Nintendo 64, even though the art itself is going to be more based on the first Resident Evil. And of course, when the GameCube came out, there were more Resident Evil games accessible as well, like Resident Evil Zero, which at the time was exclusive for the GameCube. I had a lot of fun with Resident Evil Zero, except I never actually got to finish it. Like, it was one of those rare GameCube games that I actually didn't finish. At the time, I was in a relationship back then, and we were actually in a situation where we were living together. And sometimes, and her heart was in the good place, but sometimes when she would kind of want to get me a video game, like for a birthday or a gift or something, she would take a random game and trade it in to get a new game. So I actually lost a lot of games like that. Like, I used to have the original Luigi's Mansion on GameCube. I had Resident Evil Zero. There was another horror game that I absolutely loved that was just a Nintendo exclusive, and I hate that I'm blanking out on the name right now. Yeah, it's been a while now. Like pre since they've come out, like I think low key that's why my friend wanted me around when he was playing Resident Evil, the original one, because he was probably also too proud to admit that he probably was scared to play it alone. Like he was an only kid, so he really didn't have anyone to play with, and a lot of our friends weren't very much into video games. Like I remember, like I would just roast him. I would like challenge him to like, okay, let's play Resident Evil, let's play Silent Hill, but turn the damn lights off while we're playing it, and he would just like kind of fake laugh, but he would not turn those lights off or anything. Like now, I have to look up that GameCube game. like it was turning out to be one of my most favorite games ever. Eternal Darkness, that was the name. What I loved about Eternal Darkness is that it messed with your mind so much in the different stages. Like there was one stage that with my then girlfriend, she was watching me play, and the volume all of a sudden went all the way down, and the volume bar appeared on the screen, screen going down and going up, and we were both like, "Stop hitting the TV remote!" And we were like, "Oh, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me." And then we just kind of started to like freak out a little bit until we realized that it was just the game messing with us. And I thought that was so brilliant. Yeah, Code Veronica was an awesome game. That same friend that I have, he also had the Dreamcast. Like, contrary to me, that I could only get one console at a time. Like any console he wanted, his mom would get for him. So he had the Dreamcast, and we played Code Veronica, if I'm not mistaken, on the Dreamcast. Was it Code Veronica that was on the Dreamcast as well? Like I'm really going down a memory hole right now. I freaking love Sonic Adventure. Like that was one of those times that my best friend couldn't finish the game. He always kept dying at a specific point in that final battle. And he got tired and he called my mom to ask for permission for me to sleep over that night. So that was a ton of fun. And then when it came out for the GameCube, one of the first games I got when I eventually got the GameCube was Sonic Adventure DX, I believe it's called, because it was like the director's cut or something. Like I still actually have it here. Yeah, the movie looks so much fun. Like I know I failed so miserably not watching the first one so far. I was one of the people that was kind of like ragging a bit on the studio with the first designs that came out in the original trailer. And then when they actually listened to the fan backlash and made the effects of the characters so much better, the rendering and the designs, like I was the one like championing people to actually go out and see it, because they deserve to have people go out and see it after they were able to take the criticism and actually improve the product. And then I didn't watch it. Yeah, that first Sonic design for the movie was nightmare fuel. Like the teeth haunt me on that hedgehog. Like I was kind of excited either way for Jim Carrey. He is one of my favorite performers. Even though I still think he did Kick-Ass 2 dirty, but he still did a good role in Kick-Ass 2 though. He was no Nicolas Cage in Kick-Ass 1, but it was still a fun performance. Like what really hurt Kick-Ass 2 as well is I believe Matthew Vaughn is the name of the director of the first one. He also directed X-Men First Class and the first two Kingsman movie. Like it really hurt that he wasn't the director for Kick-Ass 2 in my opinion. Like it was just weird, just like it was just weird all around, especially seeing Cyclops there with him. I forget his name. I just remember him as Cyclops and Lois Lane's throwaway boyfriend in Superman Returns. Like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen X-Men 3 of the original Fox X-Men. That was such a stupid way to go for Cyclops. So then again, I understand like the whole mess also that he was given a chance to either do X-Men 3 or do Superman Returns, and he opted to go for Superman Returns because of his working relationship with Bryan Singer, and I guess he assumed that Superman Returns was probably going to be the bigger movie of the two. Prince Edward. I actually have never seen Enchanted, and I really want to see it too. I guess I'll watch it later tonight or something on Disney Plus. Amy Adams is one of my favorite actors. Like, I find it absolutely hilarious that she was on The Office for those few episodes, because now I can't unsee her as Kate from The Office. I believe her name was Kate. Was it Kate? Yeah, I know. I know. This is usually how my live streams go. It goes from one train of thought to the other. Like, we start off with Resident Evil and we end in The Office, as I usually do in real life conversations. Also, I'm afraid to say. And yes, it is in fact the Jill sandwich. You are almost turned into a Jill sandwich. One of the all-time greatest lines in video game history. Like, I usually use a red or a blue non-reproduction pencil to do the whole sketchy underdrawing like that, and then I'll go over it with a pencil and erase a little bit here and there so it won't get too messed up or too confusing. And then I'll, finish it up, do the inking and scan it and whatnot. But of course, here, since I'm doing it with the XP pen, I'm doing everything digitally for the most part anyway. So I just do like the underdrawing on one layer. Yeah, I know, like, to some artists, it's kind of cheating to do digital art and be able to just kind of adjust on the fly like that. But I'm of the train of thought that art is art. You know, it's a different medium and a different way to do it. But at the end of the day, it's the same end goal, to produce a piece of artwork and to share that creative spirit that you have. I just want to, like, not take myself too seriously and not take my art as seriously that I burn myself out just doing something constantly intense and fierce and sad or whatever. I just kind of decompress and do something fun. Doing some noodling so I can know what exactly to add detail to when I do the more somewhat cleaner sketch of it on top of this one. Like, these are just kind of like placeholders that I'm doing around the borders for other smallest illustrations that I'm going to be doing, kind of like a pattern afterwards. Yeah, I'm really enjoying Steven Universe. Like, I started watching Steven Universe because I had never seen Adventure Time before. And last year, while I was starting to recover from COVID, I actually started watching little by little Adventure Time, since it was a lot of downtime and I'm not used to having a lot of downtime. I was kind of trying to reconcile with that fact that I can't be the workaholic right now. I have to, like, I guess, somewhat enjoy the time that I was having, because I'm not going to have that kind of time to watch and catch up with things every day. And I was also very curious since forever to watch Adventure Time, because Rebecca Sugar is an alumni to the art school I was going, SVA, the School of Visual Arts here in New York. And I did get to see an interview with her a few years ago while I was at school. So I actually have a lot of admiration for for her and her partner that did I believe it's OKKO. Like that's one of the ones that I have on my list as well to eventually watch. Since it is like kind of like a more funny kind of thing, it's going to just be a pattern of threes. Like here it would be like another chibi Jill here smiling or whatever. Here it's going to be a zombie dog, and here it's going to be a sandwich, and all that is just going to be repeating around the illustration like a border. Like I've had Twitch. I've actually had my account for a long time. I've had it for years. Since, I believe I've had it since even before Amazon bought out Twitch. I just never made a channel before to stream. I was just mostly watching other people stream video games, and when art streams were becoming more popular on Twitch, I was watching them as well. And I had a couple of friends that were starting to do Twitch at the time. Eventually, they kind of started falling out, but and start having their channels die. Like Makai Priest, it was actually you and Daniel's channels that kind of gave me that itch to check Twitch again and to like maybe try and do something. So thank you to you guys for kind of like getting that bug in me. Right. What I'm going to do is that I'm just going to like leave it here at this stage. Oh, thank you. Like yeah, like usually when I stream like at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning at very odd hours because again, like I do so many things during the day, and now that I'm also doing physical therapy as well, like that also takes a good chunk of my day. So like the only time that I kind of have to live stream a little bit, and also while my girlfriend is sleeping and whatnot, like those are like the only real times that I can like hop on the live stream and do some stuff. Well, anyway, I will probably jump in tomorrow or Thursday, depending on how the day goes. It is going to be a very packed day during the day. Hopefully, if it's like today that I got home relatively early enough to get some stuff done and then just like hop on the stream to kind of have this small breather. I'll do that again tomorrow and start where I left off literally and start a new layer and start to kind of do like the more stylized sketch for the sticker. Anyway, thank you, Makai Priest, for hanging out. Thank you to everyone else that's been watching around as well. It's almost odd to not be streaming at YouTube and Facebook at the same time. And that's usually what I do, but I kind of want to like, again, like give myself that breather and have like Twitch be its own thing as well. Anyway, thank you all so much. And hope you had a good time. I actually had a blast here. Take care. See you when I see you.